Maximize your money, energy, attention, and your time. These are the most important assets as a man. There's always that scrub, especially in college, that waits to the very last minute to submit a assignment. He's scrambling, trying to put everything together, make sure that it's decent quality to at least get a passing grade. He wasted the night before, he submits it, and he ends up getting an A or a B plus. Even though he waits to the very last minute, surprisingly, he still does very well. I used to be that scrub back in college. I would wait to the very last minute. If we had a test in a month from now, I would wait to the last couple of days to start studying and prepare for the test. And in certain situations, that worked out perfectly for me. But when I started getting into my project management, coding, database administration courses, this became a lot more challenging and it was becoming an obstacle for me. There's actually a couple of lessons in that scenario of waiting to the very last minute, and that is Parkinson's law, which is a very powerful productivity tool that can help you maximize your energy levels and 10x your productivity. So what is Parkinson's law? It's a very powerful tool, but you have to use it correctly. If you wait to the very last minute in certain things, this can actually bite you in the ass and hurt the quality of your work. Let's go ahead and pull up the whiteboard. You don't want to be that scrub that waits last minute to submit assignments. There's just so much at risk. There's some times that this works. It's worked for me, especially when I was in college and my lower level classes like history and shit like that. But when I started getting into my more difficult coding classes, this actually came back and bit me in the ass. What we want to do is we want to use Parkinson's law correctly. We want to use this method, the urgency that it brings out of you, to accomplish your most important tasks. This is going to be like a deliberate way of putting that deadline on you. So what is Parkinson's law? So Parkinson's law, if we just pull up the definition here, is an axiom that states that work expands so that it fills the time available for its completion. In other words, things become harder to complete when more time is given to complete it, as the build-up to the task becomes stressful and daunting. The adage was named for Cyril Northcote Parkinson, who first described the phenomenon in a 1955 humor essay published in The Economist. A shout out to Cyril because this is a very powerful tool that is going to make you more money. It's going to maximize your energy and your productivity. So let's say this is a month. In the beginning, let's say that first week, you don't have too much stress. There's an underload. You feel you're not really doing anything. You're kind of analyzing what's going on. You're still kind of laid back. You're in this green zone. And then we start jumping into, and get a pin here, where like in this area here, the inactive zone. And then you start jumping into that laid back zone. This is the first week. This first section here is the first week. Week 1. And then we jump into week 2. Here you start to feel a bit more stress. And then we jump into that orange zone, which is week 3. That's when you really start to feel that stress building up. You're in that overload zone. And then once you get into week 4, depending on how much work you're getting done, depending on how much work you did in these first 3 weeks, here anxiety, panic, anger can start to set in because you're not anywhere near how much you actually need to get done for that activity, and that deadline is fast approaching. I used to feel like this a lot when I was programming, when I was doing all my coding classes. Yeah, when I was coding and I was getting ready to take a test, man, you cannot cram all that information that last week. You're gonna burn out, you're gonna start getting stressed out, and you will start to break down because you start to see how much that tuition bill is at the end of the semester. Then you start to realize that you might fail the class, and then you're gonna lose that time and energy and that money for that class, which college is not fucking cheap. So that's when that stress level is at its highest. Again, it depends a lot on the activity. For something like programming, which is more intensive, this takes time. You have to put in the time and the effort into that. If you're doing something like mowing the lawn and you have a month to complete that, you can easily do that in the last week. You can leave it all to the last week and then do it. But you also don't want to wait an entire month to mow the lawn. You want to do that in the first couple of days. You want to do that in week 1. So this is the stress curve. If we jump to the right-hand side here and we start to analyze Parkinson's law, here on the left-hand side, we have effort. And on the x-axis, we have allotted time. Naturally, when you have less time to complete an activity, you're just going to put a lot more focus, a lot more high quality effort into that activity. This is the sweet zone here. Work will expand to fill the allotted time. That's the sweet zone for Parkinson's law. So more time will just result in time wasted. If we have less time, however, this will increase in productivity. So one of the hacks here is, if you have an activity that will take 1 week, what you want to do is try to get that done in 3 days by using Parkinson's law. Because if you use Parkinson's law correctly, you'll be able to knock it out in 3 days. The quality of that work is going to be a lot better. You have some time to make tweaks, change anything if you need to by that 1 week deadline. So it's always best to put that urgency. So if we jump to the middle here, the first thing is to identify your top 20 item, top item, 20%. This is Pareto's principle. We've talked about this. I'll link the video in the description below. But Pareto's principle, we're going to focus on that top 20 item that will drive 80% of the results. The second thing here would be to set the deadline. Set faster deadline. This will just ensure that you get the assignment completed on time, and that also you have time to make any changes. You can adjust and pivot if needed. The next thing is the sense of urgency. Speed and focus. So Parkinson's law will give you that sense of urgency, that sense of speed and focus. Urgency, you only have a couple of days to complete the activity. Speed, you're going to try your best to finish it as soon as possible. And focus, you're going to put deliberate focus into that activity, which is also going to increase the quality of your project. And the last thing here is to use tools. You can use the Pomodoro timer, 25 minutes. So you can just focus deep work onto that activity. Another thing is use calendars. Also, using Google Sheets is another very powerful tool that you can use. Google Sheets will just help you track your progress. Have you ever used Parkinson's law before, either for a personal activity, for work, or for school? Drop it down in the comments. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you found any of these hacks helpful, make sure to give us a like. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay strong, stay relentless, and keep on conquering. You got this. Peace.